I sent a story to Chris this week about some goofball in Michigan, and he had $30,000 in a box, and he put it on the bumper of his truck.
That's a good idea.
And then he drove down the road. He forgot about the box, and the money is flying out the back of his truck. It's like a damn movie, okay? And people were picking it up on the road. And Chris emails me and says, you know that happened in Atlanta not that long ago. And I go, oh, my gosh, you're right. It's the armored truck thing. So here was the story on WSB.
Police and witnesses say it seemed like it was raining money on Interstate 285 and Ashford-Dunwoody Road about 8 o'clock last night. Dozens of cars stopped as people frantically tried to grab some of that cash. Dunwoody police are encouraging those who did pick up some of the $175,000 to do the right thing and turn the money in.
Those people who do not return the money, we do have the videos, we have tag numbers, we have footage of people out on the interstate. So what we're asking is the public, bring the money back. Don't make us come looking for you, because if we do have to do that, you probably will be charged.
Sergeant Parsons also says the drivers of that armored car didn't even know the side door was open and they were leaking money, if you will, until another motorist pulled up and said, hey, you guys are losing money there.
It's raining money.
There it is. Unbelievable. It's a song.
Did you see the video?
I did.
People were
they're grabbing handfuls of money. Yeah. And the cop says, we got cameras and we got your license plates, so bring it back.
Red-handed.
But as I was thinking about that, found money, lost money. So obviously losing money is not a good thing when you come to your financial situation. But found money. Let's talk about that a little bit. We talk about every week on this show, when we build a retirement road plan, you do the analysis and you find the golden nuggets along the way. It could be in the area of fees. It could be taxes. It could be risk management. Talk about finding little nuggets of gold within people's portfolios.
Yeah, and it points to leaking. I mean, he mentions in the audio, it's leaking.
Right.
Your portfolio's leaking.
Yep.
It's going to leak constantly, and you need to be watching it or have an advisor that watches it consistently and regularly. And that's why we recommend quarterly meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I even have existing clients that say, really, we have to meet quarterly? And I go, every quarterly meeting we have, I learned something about your life that's changing that I need to look out a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and make little tiny tweaks. And I live in a world where I'm paranoid about leaks.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to leak fees. I don't want you to leak on risk. I want you to be growing your money as effectively as it can. So, if we're not watching it, it gets stagnant, because these markets changed so dramatically month over month, day over day now. I mean, they're violent. So you've got to pay attention to it, and you can't leak money. But we do a complete analysis for those of you that are not clients. If you were to come in, we'll do a complete analysis of your portfolio. We'll do back testing. So we'll stress test it back to 2008. So we'll give you a 12-year look back on it to show you the performance of the current portfolio, how it would behave if we went through 2008, and how it grows over the past 11, 12 years. We'll look at the fee structures that you have. I had a gentleman in my office this week, and he's got a 401k. And I won't mention the company that manages it, but he's like, oh, this company charges me virtually nothing.
Okay.
And then I look at the investments and I said, well, how much are you paying for these individual mutual funds? What?
Mm-hmm.
I pay nothing.
You're paying Wall Street is what you're doing.
You pay nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have an advisor that works for a relatively low fee, and you think that the money managers are not collecting anything?
Wall Street doesn't work for free.
Yeah. I mean, not that I've seen.
And Chris, when you talk about leaks in the bucket, you're talking about people too here who aren't taking money from their retirement plans yet. I mean, when you're starting to take money and then you're leaking money, it's a double whammy. And, I always say you got two buckets, and, those orange buckets from Home Depot, and you bore a 1/4-inch hole in one and you bore a 1-inch hole in the other. You fill them up with water. Which one empties first?
Right.
It's the one with the bigger hole. And that's what we're trying to do, is plug those holes for you and put more of that money in your pocket.
Yeah, and it's easy when the markets are good and the accounts are moving up. Even if they're not moving up as aggressively as they should be, you get complacent. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of complacency out there. A lot of folks that are saying, hey, I'm growing my money. I'm going to ignore the market, turn off the TV. I'm not concerned about it. I've made my 12, 15, 20% this year. That's great. But could you have made 15, 20, 25, 30%? Could you be saving 0.5% on your fees? And on $1 million portfolio, that's a heck of a lot of money.
It is.
So you've got to look at all of it, because all of that gets pushed back into your portfolio, and you get to compound those gains year over year over year over year. So, I gave the example of a $1.5 million portfolio that I did a financial plan for, and we raised the inflation rate by 1%. We basically stole 1% out of the portfolio based on inflation adjustment, and it took $1 million away from them over their 30-year retirement. That's a whole heck of a lot of money. 1% on a $1.5 million portfolio took out $1 million, because if you do the math, well, 1% of $1.5 million, that's not going to generate $1 million in loss. But if you compound it, putting it back in and getting gains on it, you'd be surprised how much you pass up by letting that one little leak come out of the portfolio. You've got to get all the holes, as you said in the bucket example, you got to get them filled.